What's up, everyone? It's Jeremy Majors here with Majors Academy Dog Training out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and we are live, episode 139, Dog Behavior Q&A. And we're here to answer your questions. So anybody out there who has them, feel free to ask. We are here until we run out of questions. We do this on a weekly basis, and people seem to like it, so we do it. We are live on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, for those of you who don't know. I'm just waiting on a few folks to pop on. Before we get started. All right. Let's get started answering some questions. Okay, first question. How to make my dog stop destroying things while I'm away. He's used to the crate, but now I'm away 11 hours per day. So I don't want to leave him in there for so long. The first week, everything was fine, but then he started to destroy things in the house, specifically wood features. Well, I would say the first problem you want to solve is not leaving the dog for 11 hours. Whether that be taking the dog to dog daycare or hiring a dog walker to cut out at least the middle part of the day. But that's the problem. I mean, let's start with that. Let's get the dog to have the opportunity to exercise or get some pent up energy out, and then see if the dog destroys. If the dog goes to dog daycare, obviously it can't. And by the time it gets home, the dog will be tired. There are some daycares that will pick up and drop your dog off. So that's probably where I would start. And that may solve the problem. All right. Those of you who are watching, please feel free to ask as many questions as you like, and we can talk about anything. I guess I do have a couple things that I would like to talk about, but we can get to those later. Or if you have a question, I will stop my question, or I will stop my my little rant and answer your question. All right. Okay. So let's go to another question. Okay, we got a question live. Liv says, what is the best way to stop toy aggression with dogs? Well, I would say there's a few ways, depending on how aggressive they are. If they're biting over it, well, it doesn't really matter. I would just say what you want to concentrate on is getting the dog to realize that you can take anything that you want from your dog at any time. That's a very good understanding to have between you and your dog. And the dog will need to get a consequence if the dog decides to become aggressive while you're doing that. And there's many ways to give that consequence. I think if you need help with coming up with a strategy on how to give your dog a consequence in that situation, let me know. But it depends on the dog. So one way or the other, it will need a consequence to sort of gain or learn that You can take anything you want from the dog at any time because you should be able to do that. And then um, once the dog learns that, then that behavior will stop. All right. So the goal is, again, just to teach the dog. Okay. Hope that helps. If you want to give me more details, feel free. I know a lot of people are probably struggling with toy aggression, so I appreciate your question one way or the other. Okay. Next question. What do we have here? All right, next question. We're moving to a new house and things are very crazy and stressful right now. Excuse me. The dog knows something is going on and he's been acting up. Um, is there a way to make a transition easier for him? So that's a good question. A lot of people struggle with moving and dogs becoming stressed out about moving. Um, so yeah, so you want to, when you want to make any situation less stressful, you have to meet the dog where they are. If you see your dog becoming more stressed, then you have to add more structure. Simple as that. It's a good formula. No matter what's going on, no matter where the stress is happening, you want to add more structure. Your dog, when it becomes stressful, when it becomes stressed, it's telling you, that is their way of saying, I need some guidance. And then so it's your responsibility to tell the dog, or give the dog something to do in that regard. The more you can do that, and the more your dog listens, the better your dog listens, the less stress they will be, because you're answering questions for them. Stress is a form of uncertainty, of questions, and you want to answer those questions. Okay, with giving the dog something to do to occupy it, at the very least, occupy its mind, somewhat, instead of allowing the mind of the dog to just totally be uh, captured by its stress, by what's stressing it. All right, that's a good question. All right, let's keep it moving. Hey, Sarah, how are you guys? Hope you guys are doing well. All right. Christy says aggression towards other dogs when on leash. I asked on a previous session with you, and you recommended just stay away from other dogs when on leash. Makes sense, but working toward canine good citizen cert and have to be able to greet someone with another dog on leash. So if we have to do it, how best do we work towards it? If you have to do it, then I would. What's up, Elias? Man, something's wrong with my mic. If you have to do it, then I would just do it with calm dogs. All right. If you have to meet other dogs on leash, wait until your dog is calm, and then obviously only interact with dogs who are also calm. Because the Canine Good Citizen certification, there will be dogs that you'll meet. Those dogs that you'll work with will be calm, and so if you have to meet other dogs, meet calm dogs. Look for older dogs, That's about it. Thanks for your question. Feel free to ask another. Okay, moving on. Moving on. All the dogs are finally healthy and happy. Good. That's good to hear. Okay. This question does not have to do with the topic of strangers, but I have Two male dogs. One is 5 and the other is 4. Recently, they've gotten into uh, aggressive fights over bones and such. Do you think it's time to get puppy fixed? And that dominance issues will go away with that. I can't say for certain that neutering your dog will solve the problem because there are unneutered dogs that have the same problem. Say if you're both of your dogs are neutered, um, doesn't mean they won't fight over the bone. So the thing that you could concentrate on is, for one, helping them realize that fighting over bones is not okay. And for two, maybe give them a break or let them have bones separately for a while. But I'd start with one for a while as well. Number one is there's no fighting in the house. There's no fighting over bones. And then number two would be, again, if you want them to have bones, let them have it. Maybe in a separate space. But let them figure things out over play versus fighting over a bone. So if that puppy is getting older and it's trying to maybe become the dominant one, take bones away for a while and let them figure out who's the dominant one through play first. Because play is also a conversation that dogs have that can establish the pecking order without a fight or without someone getting hurt. So take the bones away for a while. See if they can figure things out through play first, and then take it from there. All right. Thanks for your question. You know, dogs, they bite. I mean, they just bite. That's what they do. You know, puppies from the get-go, they bite. Some bite harder than others. And it is up to us to teach them when it's too hard. Because a lot of people nowadays think it's okay for a dog or a puppy to go away from its mother at 5 weeks of age. And that's not right. Just because the puppies have moved from feeding from their mother to dry kibble doesn't mean that they don't need their mother anymore. The mother can teach things, and one of those things are how to bite soft. Because again, puppies are going to use their mouth. Dogs are going to use their mouth. And you can teach, the mother can teach how to properly use and politely use their mouth. And what does the mother do? How does the mother do it? The mother bites back. That's their language. Their language is physical. So I don't really get these trainers call themselves trainers. I call them dog feeders, to be honest. I don't care how it sounds either. I'm over it. There's no more me saying I don't even give them the credit of being trainers. They're dog feeders. And the people who I'm talking about are the ones who seem to believe that you can um, train a dog not to be obnoxious, not even just aggressive, obnoxious, jumping, barking, with treats. Treats only. There's just literally no such thing as positive only training. Sounds good, doesn't it? I know it must have sounded good to some of you guys and some of my past clients because I can point out if a dog has been trained with treats only right away. It's not hard. Tell the dog to sit, and this dog goes like this. 1, 2, I'm done. Tell the dog to sit, looks at you for 2 seconds. Oh, you don't have a treat? I'm not sitting. Sit. Where's my treat? I'm not listening. That's what a dog does that has been treat trained. They only sit for the treat. If you don't have a treat, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. That is so short-term thinking. Like that's like so short-term. Yes, you got the dog to sit, but can the dog stay there without a treat? And what really does how good does that do for the dog long term? Everyone thinks short term. Good job, you got the dog to sit for a treat. That's not that hard to do. It really isn't. So so anyway, okay, we got a question coming in. I'll stop my rant for now. All right, Alicia, what's up, Alicia? Long time no see. All right, my dog is always barking at big dogs. Why? I can't get her to stop. She's a she-poo. Dogs barking at big dogs because they're big and they're scary, and she's scared and nervous. Okay, so one way to stop barking is to give her something to do wherever that may be. If she's barking in the house, tell her to go lay down, and she must do so. And or if you're on a walk, the dog must heel by your side. Loose leash, no tension on the leash, and the dog must do something. So when you make the dog do something, you are actually being the dog's leader, and therefore teaching the dog that big dogs are okay to bark at, and I mean, excuse me, big dogs are not okay to bark, or you don't have to bark at big dogs because um, there's no need to be nervous. I got you. So that's the sort of message you want to relay to your dog is that, hey, listen to your parent. You're good. The big dogs, you're fine. But in order to do that, you'll have to give her something she has to do non-negotiable. All right. And if you need help with that, feel free to inbox me and I'll help you out even more. Thanks for your question. You're welcome. All right, let's move on. Okay, my human aggressive dog has no problems meeting people when he meets them in his happy place, our backyard pond. Inside the house is a whole different story. We end up crating him the entire time we have visitors. Wish I could recreate the happy feeling inside the home. Thoughts? Yeah, maybe he's a little bit more possessive of the inside. Maybe he's a little bit more confined because of the inside. Um, how about this? Try getting the dog to become calm and quiet in the crate while people are over. And if you can do that, if you can achieve quiet calmness in the crate for 10 minutes, then you can bring the dog out on leash and try to achieve the same thing. Calm, quiet, and under control, your control. Because again, guys, we are teaching the dogs how to react to the world. If, in fact, what they are nervous about, they don't have to be nervous about, then if they're nervous about what they don't have to be nervous about, then it is our job to tell them or to teach them not to be nervous about it. Not only is it going to be convenient for us, um, but it's going to be good for them long term. So if you can do a little bit of work for the next 5, 6 times you have people over, then you will be setting yourself up long term. So that's what I get. That kind of goes back to what I was talking about, my little rant. Um, everyone, most people, when it comes to teaching, no, most people, when it comes to interacting and living with their dog, always think short term. Oh, let's give them this. Let's give them this. Let's give them this. Let's give them this. Because they're going to be happy in that moment. They're going to be happy in that moment that they can be on my bed, on the couch. They're going to be happy in the moment. They're so happy when they jump on us when they're puppies. Let's pet them while they jump on us. Oh, he's barking. He's so happy. That's so short-term thinking. That's being happy right there. But in the long term, you're just going to be developing a dog who is sort of a narcissistic, obnoxious dog because the world revolves around him. You've given in to the short-term way of thinking. So if you continue to give in to their attempts to be happy in the moment, knowing that, this behavior could become a problem long term, then you're going to get a dog who, again, has a short attention span and doesn't know how to deal with the world, the outside world, because they never have been faced with the opportunity to be humble. And that's that. Short term versus long term happiness. We have to think about that when it comes to living with our dogs. Long term, what behaviors do you allow that are going to be either good or bad long term? I don't even want to talk about treats. And listen, I'm not saying that treats are bad. They're not, because I use them. But you got to know when to use them. Those dog feeders, they just feed dogs. They're not training. You're just feeding a hungry dog. And the more hungry the dog is, the more things they can get the dog to do. But that's kind of I don't know. It's just not smart training. Anybody can make a dog spin if you have a hungry dog and put a treat in front of its nose and spin it around. It's not impressive because it's not really hard to do. What's more impressive is day in and day out trying to get behavior to change, staying consistent, and being a wall, putting up boundaries that are as solid as a brick wall. That takes effort. And I encourage a lot of trainers there's sometimes not the opportunity for a lot of trainers to see how far they should go with certain things. Because we have it pretty tough as dog trainers. Anywho, I have quite a few people asking about a shadow program. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of um I'm kind of I'm not sure if I want to do it anymore. I'm not sure I want to do the shadow program, man. I've had some people come through my shadow program, and it 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 sort of hurts a little bit that they can use my mm, methodologies. They can use the things that they learned from me and totally disregard where they got it from. So I think I just realized though that how long I've been doing it and what I actually went through to obtain my experience and knowledge, and I don't think I'm going to be that giving anymore. Um, I have a it kind of bothers me that people go on, and I've probably inspired 4 or 5 trainers around this state, and it kind of bothers me that you know they don't uh, they don't seem to appreciate all that I have helped them with. So so I don't know about the channel program anymore. Maybe I'm just going to take a break from it, but I will continue to always educate uh, as best I can. So that's that. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Uh, oh, let's see. We got a question on Instagram. Why is Yeagers Jackers? Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Aggression, Jager. I think it's Jager. Aggression triggered mainly when people come through the doors because German Shepherds are territorial. That's why. Your dog is not alone. All German Shepherds that come through my program are the same way. Just being territorial. That's who they are. You know? The more important thing is, though, that you guys realize that they're very smart and they have the ability to take guidance and leadership in that scenario. Grew up with German Shepherds. Never been anybody who we welcomed in the house. Now, if we didn't welcome them in the house, oh, you bet your butt somebody was getting bit. But yeah, just territorial. All right. Sarah says, thank you for everything you do. You changed Lola's life for the better, and you taught me so much to help with bringing my pack up now, and hopefully will help rescue others in the future. You did a good job. I can't take the credit. You've done the work, and I'm really happy that you guys are thriving. It's wonderful to have a pack. It's the best. All right, Carla says, my dog is food motivated, but he doesn't know how to take treat gently from my hand. Do you have any suggestions for this? Yes, I answered that question last time, but I'm going to do it again. Okay, you take the treat, you put it in your hand like a fist, and your dog is going to, you put it to this, put your hand to your side, and you're going to, obviously the dog will probably assume that it can take it. When your dog's nose hits your fist with the treat in it, you say no, and you continue to do that if it continues to try and get the treat out of your hand, you continue to say no until the dog offers you another behavior, which will probably be sit. Hopefully, it's not a bark. If it barks, tell it to be quiet. But put the treat in your hand like this, ball up the fist. Dog's nose touches your fist. You say no. I mean, and the timing is pretty crucial. So at the very moment it touches it, no, like that. Okay. And then when the dog sits down, you just open your hand like this, and then allow your dog to come and get the treat from your open palm. And then say gentle. And then if it's not gentle, tell the dog no, because the dog can understand all of that. All right. So say gentle, and you're just going to add more voice pressure as the dog is coming for the treat once you open your hand. And if it doesn't, then try again, or stop giving the dog treats right away. But that's what I would do. Or here's the better situation. If the dog doesn't seem like it's coming gentle, close your hand again. And then say gentle as you open your hand slowly again. I need to make a video of that. I've been saying I was going to do so. I need to make a video of that. But that's kind of how you do it. All right. Okay. Thoughts on neutering Cane Corso? What? Why would you be neutering the dog? What reason do you have to neuter the dog? There we go. Okay, next question. Any training suggestions that don't involve shock collars? No. Just kidding. I don't know. What kind of question is that? I mean, if you listen to the show, I don't think I've answered one question today that involved a shock collar. So what kind of question is that? I'll go ahead and say that I would put a shock collar on every dog. It's 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 not a tool that does anything but help your dog. I mean, you know, the shock collar if you use your leash as a tool, which you do, then you should use a shock collar. I don't care if you call it a shock collar, training collar, e-collar, whatever you want to call it. The e-collar is better than a leash, because half of y'all don't use the leash right. Y'all don't even use it as a tool. Y'all just use it as a thing to keep the dog with you. So anyway, I'm pretty sure your experience with shock collars are very shallow because of the way you asked that question. You're probably thinking that you put the dog and put the collar on the dog and you shock the hell out of it. Well, there's your first problem because that's not what happens. So go ahead and I've got plenty of videos on with dogs and shock collars or e-collars, and check them out. You'll see. Uh, you may see something that may change your mind. So anyway, enough about that. Every now and then I get a person calling, and well, it's been a while. It's been a really long time, actually. I haven't had a person that has called and said, "Now, can you explain how you use the e-collars because and prong collars because I'm really concerned with them." And that's fine. I definitely I'm definitely okay with that sort of concern for sure, because I'd be with my dog. But that's the reason why I put out so much video on what tools I use is because I want to show people before they call me how I use the tools. That way, some people don't call me because of that. And some people call me and are okay with it. So that's what I usually get. I usually get the people who don't call me probably look at the videos and like, I'm not calling him. And then the people that do call me are usually okay with any tool because it's not the tool, it's the training. Okay, I don't plan on neutering till 3 years old for health reasons, bone development. He's 18 months old now, a lot of work, territorial, can attempt dominance, but I don't think neutering will change that much. Who says neutering has anything to do with bones? I would like to know. I was just discussing this with a friend of mine. Um, we know that uh, testicles provide hormones and other stuff, but does it really? I mean, I guess it does. It would hinder growth, but to what degree? I don't know if there's any study out there that would could prove that. Um, to be honest, I've always had a problem with neutering. I mean, I have, and I've neutered all my dogs. Um, but I still think they should have their stuff. But yeah, you're right. All of the behavior that you want to change, just change it with training. Try and change it with training first, because that breed is going to be territorial one way or the other. Especially if you wait till 3. So, in what? All right, next question. Good Lord. Neutered Apollo at 4 months and it's had 0 issues on its growth. The vet told me it would limit his growth. Hmm. This is some interesting insight. Okay. limit his growth and his hip height, and 76 pounds, still needs to fill out. He's my shepherd. Okay, so I got some questions for you then. Um, how big were the parents? And uh, let's see. The vet told me it would limit his growth. Um, here's the only other thing that I've seen, and I'm not going to say that it's with regard to your dog, but I've seen immature dogs. I've seen in my experience that dogs that have been neutered too early remain immature, or sort of stay puppy-like for a very long time. I don't know. I don't know if that theory holds any weight. I have a 7-year-old that still acts like a puppy. So I don't know. 76 pounds is big. Okay, I had a trainer once tell me that Schutzen or playing tug will make my dog more aggressive. Okay, so anyone who says that, again, is thinking very short term. They're only thinking about what the dog acts in the moment. Okay, and that goes for any trainer that ever tells you that any kind of anything will make them more aggressive. Um, they're only seeing the dog in that moment, but they're not seeing what the consistent attempt to stop the aggression will actually do. Yes, some dogs will protest boundaries, which will which can come in the form of aggression. But that's what it is. They're protesting boundaries. And so if you allow that aggressive behavior to stop the boundary or overtake that boundary, or that makes the boundary go away, then they learned that if they act aggressive, then you will back down, and that is not good. So, make playing tug with your dog is play. Puppies do it with each other. Dogs do it with each other, and they don't become more aggressive. So play with your dog. Hey, Rachel. Okay. The parents were shorter than he is from the pictures. He's definitely still a playful dog, but we're only a year and a half. Yeah, he's still a puppy. Apollo stands to my hip, and the vet actually told me I should feed him more because he's so skinny, but he actually gets almost twice the recommended amount from him. That brings up a good point too. I think all these dogs are overfed. Yep. Yeah, they're feeding. Your dog gets food every single day. That's overfeeding your dog. That's my opinion. And your vet probably would slap me in the face and say, "Shut up." But my opinion is that you can keep your dog you can keep your dog sick by feeding them all the time. I don't care how good the food is, with the exception of raw diet. I think you can keep your dog sick from feeding them too much. I think fasting is important to a dog's health. Um, there are some foods that can make your dog more aggressive. I'll repeat that. There are some foods that can make your dog more aggressive. Everybody's like, oh no, what kind of food is that? That real cheap food. So anyway, um, oh, we got a question. My dog has a weird thing. He sleeps with us and he's really good. But when the hubs takes him out in the morning, he comes back in for cuddle time as soon as my husband drops him by me in the bed. He goes insane and growls and shows his teeth to the hubs. Goes absolutely ballistic. Do we crate him when he does this? No, just uh, take him off the bed and keep him off the bed. And no matter how long it takes to convince the dog that it cannot be on the bed, then do it. But that's what's got to happen. The dog loses its privilege. If you decide to crate the dog, then you're just kind of going around the problem. If you want to, and that's a short-term solution. But the long-term solution would be to continue to grab the dog and put it off the bed over and over again, and do what it takes to get the dog to realize. Because again, it's probably so, you know, it's probably so habitual to the dog that it doesn't even use its brain. It's just like bed, jump in, you know. And so, yeah, keep the dog off the bed as best you can. And again, the long term solution would be what I suggested, but it's tough. It'll be tough. All right. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Do you recommend raw diet? Why or why not? My boys both get raw kibble, about one half and one half. Yeah, raw diet is the best. I mean, it's the optimal. I mean, it's what they'd be eating if, you know, they were wild or whatever. So raw diet is good. It's the best. The reason why kibble is so controversial is because dogs have a problem. First of all, a lot of it is so dehydrated to the fact that to the point where there's no nutrients in the food. And so there's a lot of vets. Well, there's not a lot of vets, but the vets that I sort of listen to suggest vitamin supplements because that's what the dog needs and will get from raw. And then talk about gut health. Again, gut health. If a dog's system is trying to digest food that's not good for them, then their system doesn't have the ability to fight stuff off like allergies and whatever else, infections. So the raw diet provides all that good stuff. But I'm definitely no vet. I'm just speaking from personal experience with my dog's allergies and fasting. And there's no doubt that fasting is really good for humans. For that reason, because it has healing abilities. So anyway, this is behavior. This is dog behavior Q&A, not dog medical Q&A. But if it starts a good journey for you guys to think about, then I'm gonna try and suggest it. Okay, but again, this is all my experience. That's all I can speak on. But yeah, I do recommend a raw diet. I don't even feed mine raw diet because it's a lot, and it's tough to deal with. If I find the right situation, I would definitely prefer it, but it's pretty tough. I'm still on a journey of learning as well. You're welcome. Please help. He just did it again. My hole is wet from slobber. Give me thumbs up if I made you laugh. If you admit it, I'll leave. What the? Whatever. Okay. Any last questions, you guys? Go ahead and type them in now because I'm all out of questions in every other space. Wait a minute. Nope. How do you recommend introducing a dog like Jagger to a newborn child? In his crate, and him being calm and quiet in the crate, that'd be a good first step. He's already met my child. And so what I mean by meeting is what I just said. I've brought my child into the room and he's been in a crate and he's had to have been quiet and calm. That is the first step. Especially if you have a dog who is aggressive, put him in a crate. Control the dog in the crate. Do not let the child come up to the crate. But just go on as if the dog is not there on one hand. And then on the other hand, make sure you do whatever it takes to keep the dog calm and quiet in the crate. That's a first good step of introduction because you're taking control of the child, by not letting the child come up to the crate, but you're also not allowing the dog to continue to be a brat and or fearful and stressed. So that's what you have to do. That's a good first step. And I would do that for the next month, especially if your dog has bit a child. Your dog needs a lot of time the dog needs you to be in control of him and the situation, period. For long enough until the dog sort of is maybe wagging its tail when the child is present, or is so indifferent that it's snoring when the child is present. Of course, he treated him okay. Of course. Of course. Okay, let's keep it going. Jody says, our Yorkie we've had for 12 years bit my hubby the other day when he reached in her crate. Never bit anyone before. Thoughts? 12 years old. I don't know if I got anything for you. Dog is losing its mind? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Hard to say. I think I need a little bit more context. But again, dog's 12 years old, never bit before. All of a sudden is biting. Ooh. Oh, no. I mean, I know that dogs can be more aggressive, territorial of the crate. Should he be able to reach in there without fear? Of course. Yeah, but there should be no fear. 12 years, that dog should be so comfortable that he could stick his face in the crate. 12 years, no biting, and all of a sudden bite? you know? There's no lack of trust there, unless your hubby is secretly torturing your dog while you're gone. I'm just kidding. So, I don't know. I don't know. There may be more to the story. You know what I mean? There may be more to the story. Yeah. But, when a dog gets a certain age, man, they get certain luxuries, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That dog's in its glory days. If it continues, then, you know, let me know. But for now, just, let her have that one. So I don't know. But yeah. Thanks for your question. All right, you guys, I'm going to get out of here. Please give me a thumbs up, a heart, a like. Please subscribe, whatever you want to do. I really appreciate you guys with all of your questions. This will help others struggling with the same questions. So thank you so much for watching. We'll be back to for another show next week. Okay, bye.